And yet all the religious and sectarian sources for the spiritual program have been carefully scrubbed. Now, there are positive reasons for this. AA is expressly not only for Christians, let alone Christians of particular denominations. AA is for everyone who desires to stop drinking, and an explicit religious framework, Christian or not, would immediately frustrate that purpose. And AA began in the 1930s, when most Christian churches in the Midwestern cities, where AA first took hold, may not have welcomed honest and open discussion of alcohol problems. Finally, even alcoholics like me who were deeply comfortable with organized religion can find it refreshing and surprisingly helpful to do personal spiritual work, like making a list of persons we have harmed and becoming willing to make amends to them, outside of the usual constructs of church, theology, and prayer. Sometimes it just feels cleaner, simpler, more honest, to do all that work by following a basic list of tasks that focuses exclusively on practical matters. But the upstairs people need this too, I often thought. For a few years in my early recovery, I attended AA meetings in the parish hall of the same congregation I served as a deacon. I would be upstairs on Sunday mornings and downstairs on Monday evenings. I once attended an AA meeting and saw my own handwriting on sheets of flip chart paper we had used the day before in a spiritual reflection exercise. I knew instinctively that the people I served on Sunday mornings and the people I joined on Monday evenings all needed to do what the Monday evening people were doing. That particular church was fairly good at encouraging its members to confront their own wrongdoing, but I don't think I've served one congregation in my long history of lay and clergy ministry that comes close to the AA standard. In AA, everyone publicly acknowledges they are there because of their wrongdoing and because they hope to find peace and recovery by directly confronting it and making things right. A Theology of Recovery. By the time I marked my 4th sobriety anniversary, May 13, 2017, I was packing our house for our move to Virginia, where I planned to attend seminary in formation for the Episcopal priesthood. At that time, I told myself, I want to write a theology of recovery. I entered seminary with this ambition and soon found a systematic theology professor who eventually became my thesis advisor. At our first advising meeting, I brought books on the topic of recovery to her office. They were good books. The most prominent author was Gerald May, who wrote eloquently about spirituality and addiction. But my advisor told me that I would have to go deeper in my theological work on the topic. The books I brought to her office approached the topic pastorally, usually with great effectiveness, and were useful for people seeking comfort and good counsel about the many problems of addiction. But my task was different. I wanted to do systematic theology on the human experience of addiction and recovery. I wanted to explore the topic as a fundamental problem of faith, like the problem of innocent suffering or the problems of sin and death. To bridge the upstairs and downstairs worlds of church and AA, I would need to find their common ground. As a therapist, I had given much thought over the years to substance abuse and recovery. But as I walked the road of my own recovery, my worlds began to converge. My personal experience of recovery became and remains a major source of theological insight and a lens for reading and understanding the Bible. Of course, other pastors, theologians, and therapists have reflected on addiction and recovery from theological and biblical perspectives. I have heard many faith leaders say, everyone is addicted to something, in their hope that more and more people would do more of the work and receive the spiritual benefits that recovery from substance abuse offers. Addiction has even, I think accurately, been framed as a form of idolatry, a theological category of human misbehavior for which Jewish teachers and faith leaders offer particularly insightful wisdom. In the wake of an Episcopal bishop's drunk driving arrest and subsequent conviction for manslaughter in late 2014, many Episcopalians began reflecting on the shared problem of addiction that can develop in large systems like congregations and even dioceses. Addiction is often rightly front and center as a major theological topic. Nevertheless,